Welcome, everybody, to the Tangent Show. I'm your host, Rajiv Satyal, and I'm thrilled to be sitting across from Shruti Ganguly, who is a filmmaker and writer extraordinaire. I've had the privilege of spending time with her on the East Coast, on the West Coast. She's invited me to parties. She is just someone who's killing the game and doing so many great things for the Desi community and beyond. Welcome, Shruti. How are you doing?
Thanks so much. I'm doing good. I mean, considering the state of the world, I think, surviving like everyone else.
I love how you went there immediately, just a few seconds in, and it's so true because when I ask people, they're like, "Everything's good." I'm like, "Everything's good." I wouldn't say everything's good.
I mean, honestly, I think as long as you're good while everything is bad and figuring out how you can try and be good in spite of everything being bad is, I think, the daily practice.
I think you're right. It's funny you say that because just yesterday on a call, I was talking to a corporation. I don't normally talk religion, but I said, not to delve too deeply into Hinduism here, but there's cycles and there are four of them in Satyog and we're in Kali Yuga, and it's actually easier to be good in Satyog because things are good and everybody's kind of fine and things are plentiful. But when we're in Kali Yuga and things are bad, that's the challenge for us to be the light. And I think that's what you're saying. If I shouldn't put words in your mouth, but I think that's dovetailing well.
Yeah, I mean, I think, it's a time of great fear and panic. I think as someone who is also on a visa, who travels a lot, and there seems to be somewhat indiscriminate selections and detainment, deportations, and so on.
We're very
Let's say,
discriminate.
yeah. I'm just like, you know what? If it happens, it happens. What are you going to do? You have to just keep going.
I
I
think
mean, that being said, I think that also comes from a place, where, you know, we don't have kids and so on. I think when you have a family and are a breadwinner, I think the kind of, they would, someone else would have a different perspective, I'm sure, caring for someone that needs support. So, uh, yeah.
you're so right about that. It's funny because I always say that, when Trump lost to Biden, that's when my son was born, and we decided to move forward with IVF, and Naveen was born. And I always say, in her show, we waited. And she goes, I'm glad you think we waited. That was never the plan. We were always going to have a kid, but in your mind, we waited. But I was serious. I'm like, gosh, if Trump comes to power again, I don't know if I want a kid. And people go, well, what do you think now? I'm like, well, look, I'm glad I have my 3.5 year old, but I don't know. This is a really precarious time, and if people don't have kids, I don't know that I would tell them to have kids.
I mean, I think that's, there's always going to be really dark periods, I think, in one's lifetime. And if having a child is meant to be something that is really, important to that person, I think the best they can do is raise their kid to be a really great, wonderful human. And we need more of those people.
That's true. And if there's going to be darkness in everybody's lives, then maybe we get it out of the way early for him. Like, ages, 3 through like hopefully 5 would be amazing. But let's see how long it is, and he'll get done with it, and then there'll be brightness afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, we've lived through, I mean, the Berlin Wall was still up and the USSR was still like, a group, and there was no South Sudan and there was no 9/11, like, and then there was, and we survived all of these things and continue to, and um yeah.
What do you do? Like, or is it a mindset shift for you, or their behaviors? Is it mindfulness? I mean, how do you, since we went deep already, let's just keep going. I mean, or as Winston Churchill said, I know if Indians should quote Winston Churchill, but one of his quotes was, "If you're going through hell, keep going." And I do love that. So, what tips and tricks do you have? How do you live your life differently or out loud?
I mean, I think honestly having wonderful friends and a wonderful community and a family to be able to connect with and talk to. I mean, friends have come to me, saying, I'm filled with despair and I don't know what to do. How are you doing it? And to be honest, say, frankly, at this point, I also really think about my Palestinian friends and I ask myself, like, how are they doing it? And I have to be there and I have to support them. Um, I have the benefit of knowing what's, not being considered stateless or borderless and so on. And, having people in my community indiscriminately bombed and killed. And, so but I think a friend was like, how do you manage through the despair? And, I said, well, I mean, I think about my Palestinian friends and how they find strength in every day right now. And you know what? We have to be strong for them.
Hmm.
And another friend, had an opportunity pulled from under her feet because, a risk assessment team said that she was too risky because of her honest opinions about gender-based violence in India. And she was asking me, why does this happen to us? And I said to her, I said, well, the company showed itself to you better now. And frankly, let these things happen to us because we have access, we have privilege, already by even having Hindu names in India, we have more privilege. So we're being made examples of, let it happen to us because we can still have a voice to some extent and hopefully, make sure it's less likely to happen to someone else.
That's very altruistic, Shruti, and I think that's a really mature, not that I need to validate it, but I'm just saying I think that's a mature way to look at it in terms of like, yeah, we can take it. We have agency, we have privilege. And, I had Humble the Poet on this show, and he talked about that. He said, if we use our privilege to help others without privilege, he's like, we're all privileged in certain ways. We're all, unprivileged in certain ways. And it's using your privilege to help people at that time. And it comes and goes too, right? Where it's a group of people is empowered and then they're disempowered and all of that. But now I appreciate the shout out to the Palestinian cause as well because they're going through it. There's no doubt about it.